think I'm going to go ahead and bring it up here and we can go ahead and get started. All right, Carrie, take it away.
Okay, sorry. When you screen shared, it blocked my mute button. Welcome everyone. Sorry for a few little technical difficulties getting started here. We're so glad that you chose to join us tonight to talk about a very unique project called Common Ground: Finding Connections Within Our Human Struggle. And this was a unique mental health art project that involved the collaboration of 3 different entities. SRQ Strong, who is supporting this discussion this evening, the SPAACES Art Gallery, and Facing Mental Illness. And before we get into the project itself, I'd love to give each of those organizations just a minute to talk about what they are about. So we will start with Edwin, who is going to speak a little bit about the SPAACES Gallery.
Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining. Let me know if you can't hear me. This is Edwin from SPAACES. Now, our founder, her name is actually Marianne Chappell, and she wasn't able to be here tonight because she's off on a cruise, finally getting to enjoy some R&R time, given all of the just huge projects she's involved with. We're super excited she could go and take a break. But SPAACES is essentially an art gallery combined with art studios, and we've got several programs all under the umbrella of our mission to advance contemporary visual art in Sarasota and to support professional artists in Sarasota. And some of those main programs is number 1, the gallery space. You can see that in the top right-hand corner of the slide right now. We feature, installation art, cutting-edge contemporary art that you wouldn't necessarily normally be able to walk into a commercial art gallery and just buy off the walls. This is really the kind of artwork that is all about, inspiring social change and kind of just being about a higher, deeper meaning than what you might see on the surface. And then we've also got the Artist Studios program that is actually providing affordable art studios for professional artists in the Sarasota community. And at any time we can have between 15 and 20 artists actually renting studios out at SPAACES. And then, we've also got collaborative projects specifically to partner with the community. And this was one of those actual partnerships that you're going to be learning about today. And if you have any other questions about SPAACES, anything like that, definitely let me know, and happy to answer those when it's proper at that time.
Thanks, Edwin. And now I'm going to turn it over to Andy Blanche of SRQ Strong. And Andy is really the one who deserves the credit for pulling this collaboration together, because she's the one who brought me together with Marianne, the gallery owner, and gave us the support of Sarasota Strong. So I think most of you are familiar with Sarasota Strong, but go ahead, Andy.
So first of all, thank you everybody for showing up tonight. Really appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule, especially on a beautiful day like today. Every single one of us on this call has been affected by stress and trauma, especially in the last few years. Our goal at SRQ Strong is for everyone living in our community to understand the impact of trauma, to recognize it when they see it, and to know how to respond. We help bring people together across differences, help them connect with each other, building real community, which is healing. We provide information about the impact of trauma, so that people can understand why they are struggling and do something about it. And we create opportunities for healing. We reach people who wouldn't otherwise get help by taking services to churches, community centers, senior housing, and other places where people naturally gather. So they don't have to go to a therapist's office or some other place to get help. It comes in a natural setting. We actually touched the lives of almost 3,500 people last year, and we're just getting started. So the two pictures here are of one of our community events, and Father Paul Abernathy and Helen Neal, who is our trauma healing facilitator at a recent event. So thanks again for coming.
Thanks, Andy. And the third partner is my project, Facing Mental Illness, which started in 2016 as a fellowship project that I did for the Carter Center for Mental Health Journalism while I was working at the Sarasota Herald Tribune. And that project was subtitled The Art of Acceptance. And it featured weekly newspaper profiles of people with lived experience, as well as inviting those people to create art, a self-portrait that somehow put into their portrait how they felt about their mental health challenges and how they felt other people viewed them. So that was kind of the nugget that started the Common Ground project. Andy came to me last summer, I guess, and said she knew Marianne in the Spaces Gallery and said Spaces was interested in doing some kind of a project around the mental health theme. And of course, Sarasota Strong is so connected to trauma healing and mental health, better mental health. And that has been my thing with this project, which eventually became a website and a podcast as well. The picture that you see there is many of the people who participated in the first project. So we all got together last fall and talked about what we might do collaboratively that would extend a little bit the idea of what I had done with my previous project. And so what we came up with was a very unique art project in which we paired professional artists and community artists and asked them to explore together their personal experiences of trauma, mental health, and recovery, and asked them to collaborate on a piece of art that reflected their common experiences. And in doing so, what we hope to do was not only to have these pairs themselves understand how much they have in common, regardless of whether you have a diagnosis or not. There are so many mental health challenges that we all deal with on a daily basis. And so we wanted them to understand that there really is no division between someone with a diagnosis and someone who is just dealing with everyday life, which is why the subtitle of Common Ground was Finding Connections Within Our Human Struggle, because I think we all struggle at times. And in doing this, we also hope to show through the exhibition of the art, show other people those commonalities and help build a more inclusive community where people are more accepting, where mental health issues aren't scary or differentiating. They are just fairly normal and common, and we can all support each other in getting through them. So so that is our project. And some of you, we hope, were with us on Friday night when we opened the exhibition at the Spaces Gallery. It was such a feel-good moment, and the art that was created by these 12 teams of artists was so tremendous. And tonight you're going to be hearing from two of those teams about their projects, what they created, and what the process was like for them. So without further ado, we will move into the panel discussion part of our evening program. And the first artist team that we're going to speak with are Brenda Robinson and Wojtek Sawa. And rather than me introducing them, I'm going to give them each a minute to say a word about themselves and their background, and then we'll dive into their project. So Brenda, can you give us a brief introduction? Whoops, is she muted? Are you able to unmute yourself, Brenda? Well, maybe we can start with, oh, are you there?
Unmuted?
Okay, now you're good. We can hear you now.
Oh, I couldn't see that all those things. Okay. Let's start over. I am Brenda Robinson, and I think I've been on a creative journey for a long, long time. I come from a family of women who were able to take nothing and make something. I am a mixed media artist. Painting is my response to the messy middle of a color-filled world. The paint speaks to me. I can't draw. I do what the paint tells me to do. And I am compelled to hear and tell the stories that I feel the most, and I feel the most alive when I am creating and painting. And the main thing about the type painting that I do is that I'm always on the lookout for the presence of awe and wonder. And I want to say a little bit more about that later on when we're talking about our processes.
Great. Yeah, we'll get into that. And Wojtek, just can you introduce yourself, please? You have to unmute yourself. There you go.
My name is Wojtek Sawa. I am a visual artist. I specialize in what are called participatory installations, which means that I do installations. I organize space in a gallery or a museum or public spaces, and I use various types of media. And I try to bring the viewers in as participants so they can co-create the experience that that I put together. I am a native of Poland. I was born in Poland. I came to the States when I was a kid, and I've been going back and forth all my life. And I have found that art is a language that helps me communicate with people regardless where I am at, regardless of their social stature, of their financial stature, just as human beings. I think art has saved my life. And I'm very grateful for being able to do art, and I hope that the art that I do can spread a sense of joy and inclusiveness in community.
Thank you, Wojtek. And I'm going to toss it back to you again, Wojtek, first to just talk a little bit about how you and Brenda came up with the concept, explain the concept for your piece, because it was very, very unique in the show. And so explain how you came up with that idea.
Okay, well, we got together because of Carrie. I met with Carrie and she told me about the project, and I'm very happy that I was brought into it. And I was paired with Brenda, and we met with Brenda, and I became aware that most of what Brenda does as a painter, from my point of view, are portraits. Those are faces of people. And since we were trying to create a common ground experience, I had this notion that portraits are how we present ourselves to people. This is what they see. And I was going through a difficult period myself, and what was significant to me during that period was that there were things going on inside of me that I was, to put it mildly, hesitant to share with other people. I thought they were I thought there were things that if I shared them, I might be shunned, or I might be thought of in a way that was not pleasant. and I thought that that is very important, and if I could create a sense of healing and community through this concept of outside inside, and that's when it was born. I thought of outside and inside, and I thought, well, the main thing in this installation would be Brenda's painting. So I wanted to show them in such a way that they would speak to a broader issue. So to me, they spoke to the outside, to how we perceive and see other people. And so I came up with this idea of creating an octagonal structure, and the portrait would be on the outside, but on the inside, behind the wall that separates the outside and the inside, would be our inner space, that which we don't necessarily always share with people. And I wanted that space to be a space of sharing, so that when people came to see the exhibit, they could enter that space and share their thoughts in form of graffiti on the white walls. The interior is completely white, completely blank. And I think it is the viewers in this situation, and we're very fortunate because that is indeed what happened at the opening, but it's the viewers who give life to this installation by sharing their own thoughts, their own trauma, their own hopes, their own despair, and that creates a sense of community. And to me, that is a blessing, because I feel like my life is it grows in value because I'm connected to other people, and I'm connected in a way that just makes me happy to be a human being and to be alive.
Thanks, Wojtek. I'm just going to clarify a little bit for those who weren't at the exhibit and maybe don't understand. As a viewer, you can circle around this installation and look at Brenda's wonderful portraits, and then there's a little entryway where you can go inside to leave your inner thoughts or what you may be hiding from others. And as someone who did participate in this exhibit, I can tell you it's really powerful experience, and there were some really amazing things written on the inner walls. But I want to switch to Brenda for a moment so she can talk to us about her portraits, because they are so powerful, and I think for the most part very positive. They give me a real feeling of strength. So Brenda, would you like to talk a little bit about your portraits? You're muted.
Carrie mutes us all the time.
There you go.
Okay. When I see my, it's a little bit hard to even say my paintings, to see them like on that screen that came out just then, because I keep seeing different things, you know, because like I said, I don't know if I said it before, but I don't draw. I don't know how to draw. So I always thought I couldn't paint. But from looking at the wall on the outside, and like you said, you still see joy. You don't see it as, it's not depressing. It's not depressing, but it is all about the mask that we wear to make it on a day-to-day basis, how we keep ourselves together, whether it's our defense mechanisms or whatever. And that mask could be a mask of a smile. But talking about connections, like Wojtek said in his artist statement, and I didn't see that before. And one day I was looking at all these papers that I have, and he said that since early childhood, I have always been in jubilant awe of the wonder of the world. And I have always used that last line as the last line of my artist statement, that all the tragedy or trauma of living and growing up and becoming who you are and becoming an adult, and yeah, there's always space and room for joy to sneak in. It's happiness. You can choose, you know, sometimes something can make you happy. You get this, you're happy, then tomorrow maybe you're not happy, you have it. But joy is something that's always around you, and it sneaks up on you and you don't pay attention to it a lot of times. So I try to notice it, whether it's a bird or a butterfly or whatever. But when you talk about connections and how we're all connected as a human family, and he says that what he said about awe and wonder, I have been saying about awe and wonder. And we had not talked about that as a connection, how this all worked that we got put together. I mean, a little simple thing. I saw a little note that we wrote. We met at the French Bistro. Was it a French Bistro downtown?
Loving.
Yeah. And we were taking notes, and he told me, and I left that notebook in the other room. There was someone in your family named was Doorsha. Remember that? I have a sister named Dosha.
Yeah.
And he had someone that's close to him named Dosha. Now he's from Poland. I'm from a place called Leakesville, North Carolina. You would think in this universe that we would get together. But my art, when I look at all my different variations of my art statements, I'm always talking about these raggedy threads that hang from us as human beings, whether you walk around with your blue suit on thinking that you all that and a bag of chips or whatever. And we're all connected, whether you like me or not. We all have the same God's DNA that connects us. And we're going to show up. I don't understand where people think they're going to go or where they're going to be. And when these connections just come together so nicely, like the puzzle, and my life is feeling like that now, that my life and things are just falling into place and the puzzle pieces are fitting. And I came into this, I emailed to say I wanted to be a part of this project when I first saw it online, and they were looking for people that wanted to be involved. Now, I thought I came on here to help somebody else, but I found out that it's helping me a whole lot or more. And that my husband had just passed away. I'll still say 3 months, and I see it's coming up on a year now. But he had just passed away, and he had dementia. He had Alzheimer's. And I'd say things like, my husband lost his mind, but I lost my hair. And I was the caregiver, but I didn't think about myself. Everybody thinks about the person that has the Alzheimer's, and with the health profession and the government health plans and whatsoever, how it treats senior citizens, older elders in our United States today just blows my mind. It's like we're just throwaway people is what I came to see. But I also saw that, and I prayed that he would die of something else besides Alzheimer's, and he did, because he would sit still and he fell and he died of a brain concussion, a bleed, because he hit his head. But the point is, this all worked out in that this is almost a year later now, and I am finding out who I am. And I mean, as old as I am now. And so when I look at those women on that wall, they are all me. Now, I know Toni Morrison wrote or there's a movie on HBO. I have not looked at all of it because I couldn't look at it. But her movie is about all the pieces of me. And those women and little girls on that wall, they are all me. And with my spouse being gone, it's like Brenda is coming alive and this program and this opportunity to do what I've just done has helped me mentally. We're all in some spectrum of degree of mental illness anyway. Everybody is. So I felt I was at home.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all that, Brenda. That's really,
I know, because I'll go on now.
Really powerful. Wojtek, we have another couple minutes. I know that when I saw you at the exhibition on Friday night, you hadn't entered inside the booth to see what people had written yet. Have you done that at this point?
Yes, I have. And the reason why I had not was that, I was taking in the exhibition the people walking into the booth. I didn't want to interrupt them, but I also wanted to kind of take it in when I was at peace and there was nothing going on, because I knew it would be a very, very powerful experience for me. So that's what I did. I went there the next day, and there was no one there, and I could take my time and look at the different writings on the wall and take them in. And, you know, some I would just reach out my hands and touch them because I just felt such a strong connection to those people, and it was electrifying in a sense. And again, I go back to this sense of connectedness and community. I think there's so much in this world that drives us apart. You know, there's artificial intelligence, there's social media. We're not within each other's reach anymore as much as we used to be. And I think that if art can play that role of bringing people together, then you know, I'm very happy as a person and as a human being if that can be done. And things always seem to work out in some strange way. Like Brenda said, she doesn't draw, but she paints. I don't paint, I draw. So two of those 8 walls were actually filled with my drawings, and they were very, you know, they're drawings that were done on the spot, and I showed them on napkins just to show how frail that moment is, but also how powerful it can be. And I think that's the way we are. We are very powerful, but we're also very fragile. We can be destroyed in a tenth of a second, and we can build this humongous life that speaks to generations. So there's power within all of us, and I think that sharing that power, sharing our vulnerability. I think, you know, when I started, I was a film director in the beginning, and then I kind of stopped liking that, and took me a while. And then I found myself doing these installations, and I think the reason why I found myself was that I accepted my vulnerability. I wanted to be close to the people that I was sharing my art with, and I discovered that showing my fragility, my vulnerability was very powerful, and that I could connect with other people that way. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to do that at a moment that was very meaningful in my life.
Thank you, Wojtek. I have to say that, you know, my mental health project, in which people, you know, share their stories with me, either in written form or on podcast, it is all about allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. And I've watched time and time again as people tell their stories and how empowering it is to them to finally let those secrets out and realize that there's, you know, they aren't going to destroy them, and they are stronger than they think. And so I had a very powerful experience inside of the booth. Just I was in tears writing my own statement inside. So thank you both. An amazing piece. Do we have any questions from our audience, Annalise, for this couple?
It doesn't look like it, but I have a question. What was your prompt for people entering your piece? What was that interactive prompt? I don't think that that was talked about.
Well, the thing that came, you know, I was concerned with that people wouldn't know that they need to go inside. So at kind of the evening before the exhibition was opened, I came up with this idea of doing a sign on the ground with the sign in kind of a semicircle that said entrance on it, so that people could see it as they were walking around, and it led to the one panel that was open. It was just covered with this piece of fabric that you could put aside. But also Brenda and I were hovering around the installation and talking to people and telling them that this is what they can do. Which I think is helpful, because when there are so many people and there are, you know, different exhibits, it's hard to kind of figure out that you actually go inside. So we were doing our best to show people and inform them that that's what they can do.
And there was a prompt on the wall as well. And Wojtek, I can't remember the exact words, but can you tell us what the prompt on the wall said to encourage people in terms of what they could share inside?
Right. The prompt on the wall just kind of summarized the meaning of the installation, saying that it's outside and inside, and the wall that isn't, you know, that separates the two. And we asked people to share that sense of tension that they have between the inside and the outside, and to write, you know, something on the wall. And there was information that was through their writing, through their participation, that this installation comes to life and gains meaning.
Awesome, awesome. Brenda, any last comments on the project or your experience?
No, not right now.
Okay, thank you both
You're
so
welcome.
much. It was absolutely one of my favorite pieces from the show. And I've already had other mental health groups and organizations asking if we might borrow this booth and put it elsewhere in public spaces for people to share. So I turn it back over to, I'm not sure who it goes to, Andy and Edwin.
Yeah, I'll take it from here, and then I'll let Andy speak also just real quick for a couple seconds. But this is what it's all about, right? Like, this is the power of art, helping people from totally diverse backgrounds, literally in this case from 2 different sides of the world, coming together and finding that common ground. And then not only keeping it just hold up between themselves, but literally inviting others to participate in that. And that's just like the true power of art to help people experience healing in a situation where they might not even be expecting to do so. If you haven't heard of the Giving Challenge yet, you might be living under a rock, especially if you live in the Sarasota area. This is the 24-hour period that happens once a year where literally any donations to nonprofit organizations that are partnered with the Patterson Foundation or the Community Foundation of Sarasota County, excuse me. Literally all donations up to $100 get matched dollar to dollar. And so if you make a donation during this 24-hour period, it's not going to something mundane like turning on the lights and keeping those lights on. In the case if you're donating to SPAACES specifically, that's going to help us be able to do more community projects like this. That goes to making those art studios actually affordable. So that's, we had the artists, basically who were able to pair with folks who have suffered with mental illness in some degree or another, ready to go because they're already in these spaces, these studios, working day in and day out. And they're able to do that because the actual rent on those studios is affordable for them. And so as a nonprofit, we do depend on donations in order to keep those art studios affordable for them. And I'll probably talk a little bit more about the Giving Challenge. I want to pass it off to Andy though too as well, as she talks about a little bit about SRQ Strong.
Yeah, so Wojtek and Brenda's art, to me, illustrates one of the core beliefs of SRQ Strong, and that is that everybody has a story we know nothing about. And in our trauma healing activities, what we try to do is actually what Brenda and Wojtek did. We create safe situations for people to reveal their interior spaces to others, to connect with each other, to build relationship, and as Brenda said, to let the joy sneak in. That's what we're trying to do. That's our purpose. And we can do it through art. We can do it through all kinds of other mechanisms. So if you are so moved, please donate on our Giving Challenge page to help us continue projects like this. Thank you.
And I've put both of those links in the chat, both SRQ Strong and the SPAACES link that you see on the page here. That's in the chat for you.
Thanks. I think it's back to me again, and we're going to move on with more of our discussion with our artists. And we have another wonderful team that has consented to be with us tonight, and they're actually in the same place. So Erica Schlank and Christy Gahagan. This was another piece in the show that I absolutely adored. But I'm going to let them introduce themselves briefly first. Christy, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm an artist. I'm trained in classical realism, and I draw, paint, and sculpt. But my preferred medium is sculpture. I feel like I see 3-dimensionally, and that's much easier for me to execute. It's difficult for me to flatten things 2-dimensionally, but it all works together. I'm also a resident artist here at SPAACES. I come here and create art for the first time in my life in a professional studio. I think I'm most interested in capturing micro expressions because it's something that I think I've been reading my whole life, maybe to obsession or to the detriment of myself, but it's actually become something that I can put into art. My hands, I'm very calm when my hands are in clay, when my hands are moving. Yeah, so yeah,
We'll get into that later.
fine motor things really are very calming, and that's really what yeah, that's why I do it. So
Great. We're gonna circle back to that because I'm sure Erica has something to add on that front too. But Erica, can you just introduce yourself briefly, please?
Yeah, so my name is Erica Schlunk. I got involved in this, or wait, sorry, so many words at once. I'm a student right now, focusing on going into math education. At some point, I've been living with this mental illness for about 5 to 6 years since it's really came up, and I feel like I was really caught by the community of Sarasota when I went into SMH for a PhD program, which connected me to this organization known as the Academy, some of which of my friends from there might be there, so shout out to you guys. And the Academy really empowers a lot of adults seeking employment with mental health illnesses to, really kind of learn how to live again and build their skills and grow. And one of the ways they've done that is through making sure that our art gets seen. And so they did a lot of amazing things. We had an art book. We also applied for the community gallery at the Ringling, and that was like so huge for us. And then we were connected to this project, and it just kept coming. It just kept coming. And it's this whole art journey that actually started with me in SMH and has been encouraged by the Academy is really just growing. And this has been a next level experience for me. And it's been wonderful and meaningful every step of the way. So
Thank you, Erica.
Everyone.
I was documenting some of these projects as they were in progress, and it was so fascinating to visit with Christy and Erica and talk to them about how they came up with the concept for their project. So I will let either one of you respond that wants to respond, but tell us how you conceived of your project and tell us, for those who haven't seen it, tell us a little bit about, how it came together in the process.
How it came together in my head is a bit of a cloudy story because I think it really started with both first a getting to know each other session, and then we had a creative process session, and we just immediately hit it off. There are so many little details, it's almost hard to remember who came up with what because
it's so merged. It's such a completely merged artwork. I think I was thinking that I had to find something that was brand new for me to learn as well as her. And we sort of stumbled upon paper as a building material. And from that, we learned that, well, it actually was a funny story. Erica was a private tutor, and I knew that tutoring system, and I asked about the papers. And we were going to make it out of those papers, but then we decided we would.
Excuse me to interrupt you, Christy, but you're talking about actual work papers, right? You explain that a little bit so people understand what kind of papers you're talking about.
So Erica had tools that I did not have, and in mental health, and I had art tools that she didn't have. So we combined them together. One of the big things was CBT worksheets, DBT worksheets.
All of that.
She would listen to me. We never worked without each other. We were always together over these 5 months. So I never worked on it alone. She never worked on it alone. Sometimes we'd have little homework stuff, but we were doing it simultaneously. These worksheets are ways to process your emotions, your depression, your anxiety. We did it both at home and then before each session. So we literally were therapeutically starting every session. We used watercolor pencils to fill out our worksheet so that when we combined them in the rice glue, it would create the colors. But we still also wanted the words and our emotions and our work to show through.
Yeah.
And it built a tree.
Yeah.
So these worksheets, you've explained the process a little bit. These worksheets actually became the material to create your tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Erica, can you explain how you did that? And then I also want to talk to you about your own paper fascination.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we had a lot of the same interests. So but so lots of thoughts in my head.
So you actually tore
yeah.
these papers into strips, right?
Yeah, I actually, if it's okay, I wanted to actually add a detail of how we found the worksheets. It was really, we did have that lovely conversation where we just shared automatically, and since then it was a really open connection, and so I saw so much of what we had in common. So the worksheets we pulled off the internet were based off my experience in PhD, and so when I go and tell someone, yeah, so when you're in that really intense program like that, you're doing worksheets like that for like 4 hours a day, and talking about them with a bunch of people and learning from their experiences. And we just brought that process into this. And it was really fun to choose stuff and then use our collective insights to really grow on the same things and also use our strengths. In a lot of ways, our challenges either paralleled each other or were on the exact same road. So it was really powerful. And we settled on paper, I think because she was inspired by some paper art she had seen and thought it was an interesting medium. And I'm like, wait. And then I just grab a piece of it. I'm like, oh, I know how to make a branch. And I just twirl it in the same way I've been twirling paper since I was in 4th grade as a fidget, and it makes a mess everywhere. And so I had to switch to rubber bands, which I still got here because it's such an effective soothing mechanism for me. And like her, if my hands aren't busy, I don't know what to do. And it's really soothing.
So it was fascinating to watch them work because they would tear these worksheets into strips and moisten them with rice glue. And so that the tree is basically like paper mache. But then Erica, who has, as she said, had a childhood stimming. I think most people know stimming is just like an activity that you can do with your hands when you have some cognitive or mental health challenges that keeps you from being too anxious or whatever. And Erica was able to twist these pieces of paper into long tubes that look like branches. And all of that went into the creation of this wonderful tree.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, and the tree had symbolism of its own too. We would talk about a tree in the form of a living being that could be wounded, that could be broken, that could be traumatized by wind and weather and disease, but nobody has to tell the tree how to keep living. It just finds a way. And so we wanted to show that we all are like a tree, and we can find, we'll go to where we need the sunlight, or we need the roots, or we need the strength. And so that's why all of our therapeutic jottings, torn to shreds, grew into a tree.
If I could expand on that further, because those were so many good points. A big thing we explored was going from mourning the loss of all of this pain and grief. It felt like we were learning how to live again, like to the extent we were doing school worksheets, but with that tree, it's an organic growing process, and the rot is along with the beauty, and it's also a show of the strength. She showed this book of why Christmas trees aren't perfect, and it's kind of like and it was all about how sometimes our love and the things we go through for other people can be something that really shows the beauty of our struggle for both ourselves and other people. And we also had lights in the beginning, and that stood out to me because a big symbol for me is always like bright neon colors, specifically yellow and pink ribbons and lights. I do digital art, so that just hit me because it's all about not the cracks being like what breaks us, but the cracks being what allows our inner light to come out of. And our beams, and just grow out and break out of our husks and our wounds.
Right. And for those who didn't see it, the interior of the tree sculpture does have lights in it, which shine out through the cracks in the tree. It's just really powerful.
It's in it. That was it.
Can I ask you guys to share? I know you became really close through this through process. So can you just talk a little bit about what the whole experience of the project was like for you, and what you've gained from it, besides a friend?
You go first. Okay. Friend's a big part of it. As I said before, I really had been experiencing the process of art as a really empowering resource to me. And so when I had been acknowledged for, my budgeting little art that just erupted out of that pain, that was that light that came out of that pain, I was able to really gain a sense of identity and a sense of recognition and appreciation in the community, and to see myself, as Brenda described, as something with meaning and work, even on the darkest of my days, where I can't even get out of bed, I can't watch TV, I can't even think. All I can do is just put color on something. And so art's been big. And then what the Common Ground Project really added to this for me was to get to work with someone who is a professional artist, and she does not give herself enough credit. So let me just tell you, she's incredible and incredible and incredible, and has been so inspiring for me to watch. And every time she recognized my abilities, every time she worked, even choosing that medium where we would both be learning together, I was able to learn from her, and she always took that attitude of what can she learn from me. And so that made me feel like a respected human. That made me feel like I had a friend, and it made me feel like I wasn't just, I thought I was going to be, just this mental health person as a source of inspiration, maybe. No, I was an artist. I was a human. I was not alone with my feelings at all, and I was supported throughout. I once had it so bad I could not leave my house, and Christy met my entire family and my dog and came over and helped me through a really dark day. Just do something productive and
Roll
fun.
paper.
Yeah, just roll paper, and it was wonderful. So it was so meaningful for me.
Oh my God, that's so. I mean, I'm close to tears here. Christy, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, this is an incredibly wise soul next to me. When I revert to being the 16-year-old who does not know how to live life with having a hard day, she does. And she could kind of pull me out of things. We would meet couple times a week and knew everything that was going on in each other's lives. Sometimes something would happen to her and I could intervene and sort of like de-escalate a situation that would agitate her and vice versa. So it really became this very symbiotic, we kind of grew together through the project. And
With the tree.
yeah, with the tree. We are entwined and we are gonna do like art dates every month. I'm gonna take her to the museum. She loves museums. And yeah, go out and do fun things. So yeah.
That is so awesome. You guys are very inspiring. And I could talk to you for a lot longer, but I think we have to do a commercial break. So I'll turn it back over to Andy and Edwin.
I'll let you go first on this one, Andy.
Okay, well, all I'm going to say is this whole thing is blowing me away. You know, sometimes it seems like our world is so polarized and it's getting more polarized every day. Seems like people don't want to connect with anybody that's outside their little circle. And you know, what we try to do in SRQ Strong is bring people together. You know, look what happened in this project, right? People who thought they had nothing in common, built relationships and made beautiful art together. You know, the learning for me is that whatever the differences that divide us, and there are all kinds of differences that divide us, when we find common ground, something magic happens. And it's just beautiful to watch the results of that. So, if you want us to be able to continue to do this kind of work to bring people together, it would be great if you could make a contribution. You've got the link. Anything between $25 and $100 will be matched dollar for dollar. And but you know, the donations don't even matter. I'm just happy that you're here and getting a chance to witness this. So thank you.
Yeah,
Edwin?
and just to add to that real quick, you know, beautiful stuff. Like I'm close in tears to Christy's one of our resident artists here at Spaces, and we just couldn't be more proud of the way, you know, she has just been there, you know, working so productively here in this partnership. And yeah, it's just beautiful to see you guys, not only like the art that was created, but the actual relationship and bond that was created. So absolutely love it. And yeah, guys, I'm looking at on our website here, we've got, actually there's a timer for the giving challenge. So it's literally only 16 hours and 59 minutes left to give there. Like Andy said, every donation between $25 and $100 is going to be matched 1-to-1. Now, if you do donate more than $100, basically the limit is $100 per person. If you would like to donate more than $100, what we usually recommend is if you have a spouse, if they're able to put another $100 donation or whatever amount, put that second donation under their name, and that's how the Patterson Foundation will treat that there. And you know, we are just over the moon grateful for any and every donation here during this giving challenge. Thanks.
Thank you both. And just in case someone is curious about why I'm not giving a pitch for Facing Mental Illness, Facing Mental Illness is not actually a nonprofit organization. It is just really, it's like behind the curtain is only me. So, and we always I have always wanted to offer all of the work that I do for Facing Mental Illness for free. So you can find Facing Mental Illness on Substack and you can sign up and you will get everything through your email that is produced for Facing Mental Illness, and there is never any charge for that. And now we are going to move on because I know some of you were not able to be at the show when it opened on Friday night. And I noticed we even have someone from Baltimore who was saying, oh, I wish I could be there. Well, now you can. We have 10 other teams besides the 2 wonderful teams you've heard from tonight. And we're going to take a minute to go through their pieces. Edwin's going to give us a little description of each one, and take it away, Edwin.
Yeah, so this is going to be really fun because we're going to actually get to see each and every one of these pieces, hear a little bit about the inspiration behind each work. What you're seeing right now is Saint Schizophrenia of Sarasota by Lenny Hoffman and Caitlin Swirly Painter Kelly.
Thanks.
Now, Lenny and Caitlin, they sought inspiration for basically in the religious icons of Christianity, and then sought to represent Lenny's split head as a religious icon of mental health. So in the icon that they created, we see how one can live with the divided mind and still find peace, purpose, and the beautiful in moment to moment. You definitely got to come in and check it out. But for the interest of time, we'll just keep running through these. Next up, we've got Rima and Nancy's works From the Heart, From the Garden, and From the Beach. And Rima and Nancy's collaborative paintings serve really as a vibrant tribute to their mothers, merging their unique artistic styles into abstract expressions of memories and joys. And through the process, despite their contrasting techniques, they discovered unity in their mutual love for their mothers, leading to artworks that celebrate cherished moments and the influence of their mothers on their lives. And next, we've got Yahaira and Marianne's work Intertwined. Yahaira and Marianne's oil painting Intertwined reflects their deep bond formed through shared vulnerabilities and coping mechanisms such as meditation and acceptance. Their piece illustrates them intertwined amidst a forest of monstera plants and colorful yarn that's symbolizing their thoughts and emotions, visually representing their inner similarities despite their outward differences, and highlighting the themes of empathy, understanding, and resilience. And Marianne, that's the one on the left there. She's actually the founder of SPAACES and an accomplished painter herself. And then next we've got Anya and Lori's work Boxes. This was a really cool one that as soon as you walk in, it's right on the wall. It's the first piece you see in the show. And Boxes uses repurposed wooden cigar boxes to metaphorically explore mental boxes, the self-imposed and societal limits affecting our emotional well-being. And through painted paper cutouts on each box, they share their journey of confronting and discussing mental health challenges, aiming to destigmatize mental illness by advocating for open conversations and the importance of seeking support. And this all reflects a universal struggle and the necessity of community and understanding. Christopher and Peter's work, The Journey of Self-Care, merges digital print and linocut techniques to explore the intricate relationship between art, technology, and wellness, specifically focusing on the journey toward mental health. Drawing inspiration from unique sources, including violins and radio shows, their work serves as a metaphorical reflection on personal growth and the resilience found in overcoming adversity, and the critical dialogue on the accessibility of mental health services. Stephen and Paul's work, Athenian faux red, white, and black vases, are right in this the center. We've got actually four kind of sculptural pieces in the center of the gallery. And so this is another one of those first works that you see when you walk in. And these vases encapsulate the universal mental and emotional struggles inherent in the human condition, as reflected in the intricate designs painted on each piece. And through their creative process and discussions, they discovered the shared nature of their personal experience, emphasizing that despite varied life circumstances, the fundamental challenges and feelings of pain, loss, and hope are universally experienced. Nancy and Naomi's work, Our Journey, is a work where they intertwine their diverse backgrounds through a collaborative piece utilizing acrylic, graphite, and diamond art glass beads on foam core to weave a narrative of their converging life paths. Inspired by their upbringing, the influence of resilient mothers, and shared moments, the piece becomes a celebration of connection, discovery, and the enduring significance of small details with sunflowers symbolizing their collective optimism and the universal search for happiness and understanding. And then we've got Here Lies the Sky by Tim and Margot. Margot is also one of the artists at Spaces, one of the studio artists. And in this piece, they blend oil and pen on canvas to explore the serenity found in both creativity and nature, embodying the artist's journey toward vulnerability and connections through the Common Ground Project. Despite their differing artistic methods, the collaboration highlights the power of collective expression and the significance of community support in navigating life's challenges, illustrating how disparate perspectives can unite to form a richer, more meaningful artistic narrative. We've also got Chantel and Lane's work From Dark to Light and Back Again. Lane there featured on the right-hand side. She's also one of the artists at Spaces. And this work explores the theme of life's journey with a focus on the emotional spectrum from despair to joy. You can actually see that going from left to right in the work itself. And this piece, you know, a blend of acrylic on canvas, reflects a fusion of Chantel's focus on the bus's free spirit and Lane's attention to color and background, mirroring the nonlinear nature of life itself. We've also got Gemma and Erica's work, Cocoon, which was a, you know, kind of a sculpture right in the middle of the gallery as well when you first walk in. And this mixed media assemblage metaphorically explores the transformational journey of overcoming life's challenges, encapsulating feelings of entrapment and the eventual emergence with renewed strength and beauty. Their individual backgrounds, a blend of botanic sculpture, interior design, and a unique journey from acting with a deaf theater company to embracing visual arts and collaboration, all infuse this piece with a rich tapestry of textures, colors, and the spirit of resilience and rebirth. And then as you guys saw there, we've got Erica and Christy's work, Arbor of the Soul, which embodies their shared experiences of personal growth and resilience, paralleling the natural resilience of trees. Their artwork incorporates personal notes and therapeutic journaling into the sculpture's bark, symbolizing strength and new growth around trauma, highlighting their journey of integrating mental health healing into their creative process. And I believe lastly, we've got Wojtek's and Brenda's work, Outside, Inside. Wojtek and Brenda's work is it's a site-specific installation exploring the dichotomy between one's public facade and private self through an octagonal structure. This immersive piece combines Wojtek's observational ink drawings and Brenda's colorful paintings to symbolize the external and internal aspects of identity, inviting participants to introspectively share their inner conflicts on the white walls with provided markers, enriching the artwork's significance through personal contributions. And it's extremely powerful to take a walk and see what's on the inside there.
Thank you, Edwin. As wonderful as that was, I have to say that if you have an opportunity to come see the pieces in person, it's a whole different experience. Some of the pieces you really need to get up close and see the amount of detail and thought, and there's words on many of them. It would really encourage you, if you are in the Sarasota area, to come actually see the exhibit. I believe there are gallery hours Friday and Saturday, 11 to 2, is that right?
Yep, exactly. Friday, Saturday, 11 to 2 p.m. And then also by appointment, if you want to just reach out you could reach out at edwin@spaces.art, and I'll stick that in the link here for everybody as well.
Fantastic. And the show will be up until the 27th of April. So you have some time to get over and see it. And we hope you'll take the opportunity to do that. Do we have any questions or comments from people in the audience that you'd like to share about what you've seen? You can just raise a hand, or questions can go in the chat. Anybody?
I don't see any questions, but we just have long strings of people commenting how beautiful that they thought the partnerships were, and yeah, they would love to see the show. Lots of hearts and stuff going on through here.
Yeah, it's, I think for those of us who collaborated on this, and I'm sorry Marianne isn't with us to share in this moment, because it does really feel very good and very powerful to see how this all came together and to see the amazing work these teams produced and the relationships that were formed. It's very, very satisfying. So are we going, we're a little ahead of schedule, actually. Are we going to commercial break? Yes, we are. Edwin, your turn again.
Yeah. Well, like I said, guys, the clock is ticking. This challenge literally does actually expire. That's not just a made-up urgency. And so if you haven't yet, it would just be so appreciated for both of our organizations. Even if you were like, well, I've got, $50 to give, like amazing. You could give 25 to SRQ Strong and then 25 to Spaces, and both groups would end up with 50. Any amount is just so appreciated. And it's been an absolute honor to get to partner with Carrie and Andy, with all of the artists, with everybody who contributed to the project. Like, it really has been mind-blowing, just the turnout of people that came that night. There's several hundred people, and this just goes back to, it's not about coming in and kind of looking at something nice and kind of, having a nice, pleasant experience. Like, this was deeply meaningful for the people who created the work. This was deeply meaningful for the folks who've been behind the scenes organizing it. But it's also been deeply meaningful, as you can see in the chat just below. It's deeply meaningful to everybody who's gotten to come and actually see the work, appreciate it in person. And that's what it's all about. Just those tiny little nudges, changing people one by one can really start an avalanche of cultural change. And, your support here literally enables us to keep doing collaborations and projects like this, and keep pairing artists with other collaborators and making that difference in Sarasota.
Thank you, Edwin. I will just add that, well, first of all, I am just blown away by this art. I'm so impressed by the talent in our community, much of which we don't even recognize is out there. And what comes to my mind is one of the premises of SRQ Strong. One of the things you hear us say a lot is that everyone has a gift to give. Everyone in the community has a gift to give, and we don't always recognize that. And sometimes the gifts are really unexpected. I think some of what happened with these partners is that they saw gifts in their partner that they hadn't anticipated that they were going to run across. So our job at SRQ Strong is to create platforms where people are able to offer their gift to the community, whatever that gift is. Because the truth of the matter is, in a strong community, people give as well as receive. And that's what I think we've seen happening in this project in such an impressive way. So if you want to help us continue to do this kind of work, we'd really appreciate you making a donation if you can.
And even if you can, I'll just add, tuning in like you are today is contribution enough. So now we're gonna go into our little closing out portion here, I believe.
Yeah, I think we're going to go into now just to each of the three collaborators talking a little bit about what lies ahead for their organizations. So Edwin, we'll let you tell us about SPAACES first.
Yep. So if you also haven't, be sure to go to spaces.art and just join our mailing list, because we still got two more actual exhibitions this season. So each season we have about every month or so a different show. And like I said, those are going to be contemporary artists who are alive today, creating new works of art, usually with some sort of aim to, have a change in society for the better. And this season, specifically after the Common Ground show, we'll be having a show that's a partnership with the Petticoat Painters, a organization of artists here in the Sarasota area as well. And then after that, we're going to have some performance art in June as a special exhibition. So if you join that newsletter, you'll get all of the info about, the things that are coming down the road. Obviously, then the announcements for our next season of exhibitions and collaborations. And sometimes we do crazy little pop-up exhibits just right at, out of the blue at the last minute. We squeezed one in right before the Common Ground project here. And again, just, ended up not quite knowing what it was going to be, but it turned out, several different artists, some from the Sarasota Art Museum. I was invited to perform. We had a punk rock band there. Just everything, it's always something interesting happening at Spaces. And so if you join that newsletter, you'll get all those updates, and we're just going to continue growing. We're going to continue expanding. We've basically taken over a whole district there. It's, the gallery is kind of like a New York gallery when you walk in, concrete floors and just, sparse white walls, and then the artwork there featured right in the center. But then right down the corner as you walk down, through the street, there is just all these warehouse units that are being gobbled up essentially by Spaces and converted into artist studios. And so you can literally walk down there and see the artists in action, creating their work. We've got some artists like Alicia Brown, who just had a show featured up in New York City. Another artist, Claudia Ryan, her work is over in the Tampa Museum of Art as part of their collection. And so there's some, really groundbreaking stuff happening there. And we would just love for you to stop by and come see it.
Thanks, Edwin. Andy, what's in store for SRQ Strong?
Big things in store. After 5 years of being a mostly volunteer project of a different nonprofit agency, Sarasota Strong is now an independent organization. And we have put together a strong local board. We're about to hire our first executive director, and we're really anticipating some major growth in the coming year. Some of the things we've got planned are taking our trauma healing opportunities to new groups and new settings, including the Safe Children's Coalition, the Sheriff's Homeless Outreach Team, Transitional Housing Program, faith communities from Manatee County all the way down to Venice, and lots more. We'll also be looking for new groups to partner with, because we like to do everything in partnership. That's how you get the word out there. We've been talking with Sarasota Contemporary Dance, who was actually one of the founding the founders of SRQ Strong, about doing some work with dance and healing again. But we will be looking for new groups to partner with and new ways to interact with and reach the community. So if you have any ideas, or if you want to get involved, now is the time to do it. So please contact us and let us know if you have any interest. As Edwin said, we also have a place to sign up on our website, so that we can keep you informed about our upcoming activities. We do community conversations about every other month, which are often, they're in this kind of format. We usually have a panel with more than one person on the panel, sharing their personal experience with whatever issue the community conversation is about. We have lots of dialogue with the community. They're very informal and very much grounded in the kind of sharing of experience that we saw tonight. The next community conversation, I believe, is in June, and it will be focusing on resilience in the LGBTQ plus community. So that should be a really good one. And if you're on our mailing list, you'll routinely be informed about upcoming events.
Thanks, Andy. And I'm just going to take a minute here to talk about Facing Mental Illness, which, as I said, is not a nonprofit organization. It is basically me, like the Wizard of Oz, behind the curtain, pulling a lot of switches. But for those of you who aren't aware of the Facing Mental Illness Substack platform, I did put the address in the chat box. It's facingmi.substack.com. And there you will find not only lots of blog posts and pictures from this project, but all of the work that I did previously, which is lots of stories, profiles of people who are in recovery, lots of podcasts, audio podcasts. So you can go to the archives and you can find, if you're looking for something specific, you can find someone who's dealing with anxiety or someone who has dealt with depression or bipolar or whatever. And it's just it's a wonderful resource of stories, and really powerful and very hopeful for the most part. And you know, it really created a community online. As for what lies ahead, I'm going to take a little breather for probably a few weeks. I probably will start up the podcasts again. And the podcasts are not just people with lived experience here in Sarasota or in Florida. They're actually from all over the country. So it's really interesting to tune in for those. It's interesting that Andy mentioned Sarasota Contemporary Dance. Some of you know that I'm a former dancer, and I'm the dance critic for the newspaper. And I just had a meeting with the director of Sarasota Contemporary Dance the other day to talk about a possible collaboration between her dancers and Facing Mental Illness for next year. So it's very unformed at this point, but it's a possibility. And as a dancer and a mental health advocate, I'm very excited about that possibility. So again, the Facing Mental Illness address is in the chat box. If you'd like to sign up, it's free, and you'll get whatever I post. It comes right to your email address. And do we have any questions, Annalise?
Does not look like it. We
Okay.
did, yeah.
Well, I just like to finish by
there is
Okay.
one comment here that I will read here. It says, in all transparency, it was a beautiful day here in Baltimore. After a stressful day at work, I said to myself that I was going to take a nice walk when I got home. I forgot to note this presentation was on my calendar, and as I was about to head out, I checked my email and saw the reminder. I thought, oh no, I really want to walk. Maybe I'll skip this. Well, thank goodness I decided to tune in instead. If I had missed this, I would have been deeply disappointed. I am awestruck, grateful to all for sharing their talents and their stories. It has been a privilege to be here.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And actually, if you'd like to share this presentation with other people, I believe it will be posted on the SRQ Strong website, correct, Annalise?
Yes,
So-
yes, we're going to send it out to everyone.
So if you know people who weren't able to be online tonight, you can share that link with them and they'll be able to see all this wonderful art as well. And I just like to finish by, first of all, saying thank you to my collaborators, to Andy and Marianne. Obviously, when you bring together 3 organizations and 3 people, you can do many things that you couldn't possibly do on your own. And that's especially true for me as a, as a sole person running my project. So I'm just so grateful to them for all the enthusiasm and support and assistance that they gave in bringing us all together. And of course, thank you to all of you who joined us tonight. We're so happy that you took the time to do that. And my greatest thanks go to these wonderful artists. I mean, I seriously get choked up when I talk about this. Some of these artists who participated in the Common Ground Project were also artists in my original Facing Mental Illness project and have become very dear friends. And it is such a testimony to the power of art to build community. I feel like all these people who participated in this project are part of my community now, and I'm so grateful to all of them for the time they spent, for the thought they put into the project, and for the incredible work that they brought out of themselves. Just my gratitude is immense. So thank you all. And Andy, anything else you want to add?
I was actually going to use my last 30 seconds to thank the partners. So, and you did it so well, Carrie. I mean, thank you. The Facing Mental Illness project really was the inspiration for this in many, many ways. And Marianne and Edwin, SPAACES Art Gallery has been an absolutely amazing partner. Partnership is not easy. It is hard bringing 3 agencies together that have different cultures and different ways of thinking. But if our goal is to create a trauma-informed community, one agency cannot do it alone. It has to be done in partnership. We only succeed if everybody succeeds. So to celebrate the spirit of partnership, the power of partnership right now, I want to suggest that you make the last gift of the evening, not to SRQ Strong, but to SPAACES, because they were just amazing. And so thank you for being here.
Edwin, final plug.
Thank you so much, Andy. Really, really appreciate that. And so we're going to do the same thing and say, hey, if you're thinking about giving to SPAACES, make sure you also give to SRQ Strong. We couldn't have asked for, just a better match here in terms of the process itself, but the work that you guys are literally doing day by day, and the people that you are affecting and impacting. And then to just have seen the end result, turn out as it has, it really is mind-boggling to see how much came out of what seemed like at first maybe something really complex, then something kind of simple, and the end result really has just been a work of beauty in every way possible. And so if you're considering giving to SPAACES, I'd ask, also make sure you give to SRQ Strong there. Because they're doing, life-changing work here in the community of Sarasota, and we'd love for you to be a part of that. And I'll remind everybody that that clock is ticking. It's a real urgency. The Patterson Foundation is going to shut that link down on us here in less than 16 hours, I think.
Thanks. Annalise, do you have any last-minute housekeeping, or are we good?
No, we're good. And we're actually right on time. It's 7:29. I just want to say I really appreciate everyone that tuned in and all of the artists. And it was really great to be able to hear the partnerships that they developed throughout this process. And I don't know if anyone was reading my comments throughout, but I remember because I was considering doing this project and I had so much going on that I had to back out. And in the beginning, all the artists were all saying that we've all only ever worked by ourselves. We've never done a partnership. They've always been, hesitant because, we're always in our own little space. And to see that, at least two of the dozen pairs walked away like so connected it was an amazing outcome from that project. So it was really good to see. That's all. That was all my housekeeping with my personal comments.
Thanks, Annalise. So thank you all for tuning in. Have a lovely evening. If you
Yes.
want to get the link for this video, you can go to srqstrong.org and share it with others. Thanks.
Right.
Have a
Bye,
great
guys.
night.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.